it be my way.
Well, I ain't gotta ask.
What's up, y'all? We are back at Blerd Buster. It's been a minute, but we are here, and I'm here with my co-host K1, and it's your girl Shalon, and we are back with Superman. We're gonna cover Superman for y'all tonight. It's been a minute, man.
Been a long while.
Long while, long while, long while.
hmm
So, what did you think about Superman overall? I guess we always start out giving like our opinion on like 1 through 10. What did you feel like it was?
If I had to rate it, and I'm trying not to be biased, if I had to rate it, for me, I would give it a solid seven.
Okay.
I would give it a solid seven because, as we talked about before, this is supposed to be essentially the reboot or what
Yeah.
have you. So, yeah, that's why I kind of stand with a solid seven.
Okay. I would give it, I think I'm gonna give it about an 8. I'll give it about an 8. It was pretty good to me. I was pleasantly surprised because like I can't remember if we talked about it, but I remember talking to like my other nerd friends and my dad about it, and I was like, oh no, like James Gunn. I like James Gunn because we love Guardians of the Galaxy, but I just didn't want it to be overly silly and goofy like that typical James Gunn humor. But I was pleasantly surprised. Like I said, it was like a lot of parts where it was serious. It was just it didn't seem so much like silly, and I was worried that I'm a fan of Zack Snyder's darkness, so I was afraid that James Gunn was gonna get away from that, which he kind of did, but I think just aesthetically, of course, it's brighter, but it just didn't get away from it wasn't it wasn't overly silly, is what I'm trying to say. So I was fine with it.
I mean, if I had to measure it, I'd probably give it a 70-30 split as far as, when it comes to the lightheartedness and then the darkness or whatever. So you got a 70% of the lightheartedness or whatever. Then you had just a little bit of sprinkle of darkness in there. You know, I,
Yeah,
I wish I could call it an even split, but it wasn't. And
yeah,
I mean, but with that being said, I think say it was a good, 730. It's like, it has potential to go darker if need be,
for sure.
especially with him essentially just starting out. Like this is essentially what year two Batman was to Superman. So this is kind of like
Hmm.
his second or third year essentially in, being Superman. So he got time to grow.
Yeah, for sure. And I like that you said that because I liked how they didn't just him and Lois are not already like super established. This is like a fresh relationship. I like that, we don't always have to have the origin story, but it still felt like new, like you said, like almost like year two Batman type thing. So I love that. Um I didn't know how I was gonna feel about Crypto the dog, because I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was it was a little goofy to me just seeing the trailers and stuff like that. I was just like, I don't know if that was a good choice, but I liked it. It just like I said, it just was really pleasantly surprising with the dog and everything like that. Like I didn't dislike it. What did you think about Crypto?
I kind of saw it come, not necessarily the dog per se, but the material they be pulling from or whatnot. So essentially they're supposed to be pulling from the animated series of Justice League and I think Young Justice as well or whatever. So I've seen Crypto before. It wasn't just like, oh, we need Crypto, but I've seen him before. So I'm like, okay, this will be an interesting take because no Superman movie before this one has introduced it.
Yeah.
So, for them to be able to introduce it and it doesn't really seem too crazy. I mean, it worked. It worked where it needed to work at.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I loved. their take on the Fortress of Solitude, like sort of Superman's headquarters and stuff like that. I thought that was dope. I thought that was dope to have like the robots. At first, I thought, but just seeing that and seeing him sort of have like not henchmen, but like his team, I thought that was dope because I wasn't expecting it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Because it was funny because I think he was trying to tell one of the robots, like, thank you, whatever. He like, no, man. He was like,
Yeah.
no, thank you. Mean anything to me. I was like, well, all right. It's a little,
Yeah, it's funny towards the end. They really made the robots have like what's the word I'm trying to look for? Like they were almost not real is what I'm looking for, but like they actually th were able to think for themselves. And I thought it was more so he just like programmed them and stuff like that. So I thought that was cool. I was like, okay, Superman up here making robots and stuff, and I'm still trying to learn DC and everything like that, but I thought that was cool, so that was dope to see for sure.
I know I definitely won't get to the end of this. I got some things to say about the robots. It's nothing bad, but
Yeah,
I mean, I would assume they're pretty strong to be able to hold Superman down and things of that nature, and whatnot. But the reason I say that because it'll make sense later on because
yeah. I feel like I know where you're gonna go with it because I feel like my pop said the same thing. But yeah, like you said, we'll get to the
yeah,
when you bring it up.
right.
Um, what else I was gonna say? The Justice Gang. How did you feel about them? I feel like Stephen Gunn's, I was getting Suicide Squad vibes a little bit. So,
I knew at some point in the movie James Gunn was gonna have his pick of the Corky Bunch or whatever have you. So, I mean, granted, I never really heard of the Justice Gang, as far as, watching the cartoons or anything like that. But I'm like, all right, it is what it is. But it really gave off the first X-Men movie as far as their suits because everybody got color coded suits. Green Lantern got his suit with little hints of green in it. You got this terrific little hints of red in his. Hawk Girl, little hints of yellow in hers. I was like, I thought they was gonna have like actual suits. I didn't know they was gonna be syndicated, but
yeah.
I was like, all right, it is
Yeah.
what it is. You
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you with that. I definitely was like you said, we already went in knowing he was gonna throw his quirky, group together or whatever like that. And I mean, I enjoyed it because like I said, overall to me it wasn't the movie as a whole wasn't overly silly. Like you said, it was like it was a split. I enjoyed Green Lantern, even though I thought his character was kooky, but that was the idea. I felt like we didn't get much of Hawk Girl for real, but you know, I'm not gonna lie. Uh, dang, what was his name? He was no, that was Hawkman, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all correct me too, K1 if I'm wrong, but in Black Adam, I can't remember if he was Hawkman
know,
or what his name was. I don't know if they kind of played off of and they changed, instead of doing a man this time they did the girl.
yeah, because I mean, he essentially, yeah, he's Hawkman. He's like, him and Hawk Girl, like they've been betrothed to another like years and centuries
Yeah,
back or whatever.
yeah.
Was that his exact name? I'm not sure, but yeah, I will say he was Hawkman.
Yeah, and I really enjoy his portrayal of the character. And I love the actor as well too. And I know that James Gunn is kind of taking over, so it's a lot of changes he made, but I really enjoyed that actor. I would have loved to see him in, Superman too, because I thought he was a dope character. Um Carter Hall, Aldous Hodge. I can't
Yeah, all the
I'll
time.
pull it up. Yeah.
I already pulled it up. I got the cast list up now.
Oh, dope, dope, dope,
Yeah,
dope.
so Aldous Hodge is Hawkman. Of
There
course,
it
Barry
is.
Brosnan is Dr. Fate. But essentially, we know that basically everybody that was in this movie and any movies behind technically won't be affiliated with anything going on forward unless, James Gunn decide, hey, I want to recast you and put you in a different role or whatever, which there's some other things we're gonna get to because I can already hear two confirmed people that was a part of the old DC. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Mr. Terrific, I'm like, about time y'all give my dude just give him more screen time because Lord knows. And if you guys are not familiar, I'm trying to pull up the actor's name because I don't wanna jumble up his name. I think this is pronounced Edie. I'm not gonna ruin his last name. But he played what was his name in X-Men First Class? Dang.
Yep. Uh,
Y'all know who I'm talking
First
about.
Class.
Darwin.
Mhm.
Darwin. They did my man so dirty. He literally was in the movie for like 1.5 seconds, and this dude's supposed to be able to adapt to anything, and they just took him out.
Yeah.
So I'm happy he got his due justice in this movie, and I think James Gunn really allowed him to shine, which I love. What do you think about his character? I thought he was dope.
I definitely didn't hate his character or whatnot. I do kind of feel like not that he was singled out, but out of his crew, he was the only one that was really had common sense in my eyes because you got
Hmm.
uh Nathan Fillion's character as Green Lantern. He's like more of the I'm leader, but not for real. Like he wants to be main character, but he's not really main character type, vibe or whatever. Then you got Hawk Girl. And basically, from what we saw, we thought we was gonna get way more screen time out of her because of how they was hyping her up to be the next Hawk Girl and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With with Edie's character or whatever is Mr. Terrific, yeah, I think he held his own. Um,
Hmm.
you could definitely see like, hey, if y'all want to push it to where he could do something solo, that can happen as well. I can see that happening, but yeah, I do think he did well in the role.
For sure, for sure. I loved how that, like I said, they really put a spotlight on him. So I'm happy my dude finally got his due justice. I also wanted to touch back, and I hope I'm not going backwards, but I really wanted to touch on Superman not feeling perfect in this movie either. Like, because Superman is always just like he has his flaws now, but they always push him to be like perfection. I feel like in this movie, you really just saw like dude was getting beat up. Dude didn't always have it all together. Dude, they really like showed him being flawed and not being perfect. So I love that too because like I said, I always feel like they made Superman be like, see Superman. So I like that they made him more human in this movie too.
Yeah. And then I mean, again, that's more things that we can talk to towards the end or whatever. But I do feel like even though making him more humanized was cool, I do feel like the reason he was getting his ass whooped was a cop out. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
So, it ain't like he was getting beat by a regular degular person or
Yeah.
whatever, so that's kind of how I feel about it.
I feel that too. I won't say too much because I know you want to touch on it, but I will say I there was parts where I was kind of like, man, come on. Like I get it, but come on. Even though like I did like it, but I definitely get what you're saying for sure. This also brings a point to the Green Lantern they chose, and they chose Guy Gardner, which I was familiar about. My pops knew about 'cause he's a huge comic head, DC, and so I'm just getting into the DC universe. But how do you think they're gonna incorporate Aaron Pierre to take up the mantle because unless I know there's multiple Green Lanterns. So, like I said, y'all don't crucify me in the comments and y'all probably gonna be like, girl, there's multiple Green Lanterns, but I wonder how they will, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
integrate Aaron Pierre into it.
Because I mean, with Aaron Pierre, his is going to be a series or whatnot. I'm not sure what streaming service is going to be on, but it's going to be a series or whatever have you. But
Yeah, he
of
passed.
course, he'll be playing John Stewart. And then you got the one that everybody knows for the most part, Hal Jordan as well.
Mhm.
Guy Gardner, he's always been in the picture or whatever, but of course, he's also been a different variant of the core or whatever have you.
Yeah,
So I am interested to see how they're gonna play that out. And it's funny because the guy that's playing Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion, he's been voicing Green Lantern in the animated DC films. So it's kind of funny to see him voice as Hal Jordan and switch over and do Guy Gardner for the live action. So
yeah,
it's kind of
yeah,
funny to
for
see
sure.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, what else was I gonna say? Before I forget, I liked that they touched on the whole thing with Superman as Clark Kent wearing his glasses and stuff because I feel like back in the now I don't know if it's like this in the comic books. They talked about, there's something with his glasses where it helps. make people not recognize that, he's Superman and Clark Kent. I don't know if that's like that in the comics, but if it's not, and this was just, back in the day, they kind of just, did things like this. I like that they sort of made it make more sense and more modern to today, where it's like, come on, man, like y'all don't recognize, and they kind of explained and had a reason for that. So I like that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big driver of that was just mainly people talk about that a lot. They like, you mean tell me he just throw some glasses on, y'all can't tell who he is or whatever.
Right.
And I think with that being said, they took that, they was like, all right, cool, we gonna make it make sense, y'all. Like
Yeah.
this has been a thing. This is the reason why they can't tell who he is and blah 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 and whatnot. Because even in that Steven Spielberg movie, Ready Player One, they kind of made mention of that, the reason, how that could camouflage and everything like that or whatever. So it's always been there, but people that don't think the answer really knows, it's like, come on, man, glasses gonna change things. Come on. Like,
Right. Right. Like, especially with today, nowadays with technology, it's like, come on, man. So I'm happy that they did explain that, because it's like at this point, just like I think with Spider-Man Tom Holland, um, dang, there was something that they did that they modernized it and I liked it. If it comes back to me, I'll try to loop it around. But there was something they did too that I was like, yes, because it doesn't make sense to still. I think it was Jonah Jameson, instead of doing like the newspaper and stuff like that, they start modernizing where he has like a podcast, and even the game, like he I think he's on the radio or he has a podcast. So I thought that was dope because it's like, it's not 1950s no more. But
right, right.
what did you think of Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor? Let me try to be nice about this because I don't want to get chewed up in the comments or by, Um, I'll just say this. I was a little, I think I'm always just kind of skeptical on who they choose to be Lex Luthor, but I love the actor they chose anyway, just based off his work. But I was again pleasantly surprised by his portrayal. I thought he did a great job as Lex Luthor, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will say like I can't speak for him because I don't know what he did to get ready for the role, but you can definitely tell that he mirrored a lot of what he did based off of Jane Hackman, who played the original Lex
Mm.
Luthor in, the old Christopher Reeve movies and whatnot. But the thing about his character, he was just a natural born hater. Like he just hated everything about Superman or whatever. Like I'm watching the movie, I'm just hearing Kendrick Lamar in my ear the whole time. Like because he just hated everything about Superman and whatnot. And I will say though, his character wasn't he didn't waste time.
hmm
Most of the villains that you see, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. He didn't waste time. Like he
hmm
understood, like, boom, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And when it came to the whole dimension split thing, I was like, who thinks to do that?
That
And
part.
but my thing about him is he was so much of a hater that he didn't care about the risk. I'm like, bro, you got to come on, you at some point in time you got to give a damn. Like you went from trying to save the planet to where you tearing it apart. You know what I mean? So
Definitely,
I
definitely.
feel you.
And I was gonna say that he was so driven. Like you could see like almost it kind of I would say some parts, not completely, because I don't think he was completely just off the deep end like Homelander, but just you could look in his face and his eyes and just sense the hatred for Superman and the ruthlessness, and to the point where, like you said, he just creating stuff and don't even care how this could possibly end up just because he's so driven just by the hatred of Superman. And I thought that was really dope that they harped on also his genius as well too. That fact that he's able to like come up with this stuff and really dig deep into his character. Because I always feel like it's always they don't really touch a lot on his brain and his geniusness. It's always just it always just seems very surface level to me. It's like I hate Superman, so I'm just gonna come up with an elaborate plan to just get him or to do this, that, and the third. He really like on some interdimensional type stuff. Like it was like, hey, I got people down here. I don't like you. You do something to me, I'm gonna lock you. The dude had ex-girlfriend down there, like just locking up people for anything.
Yeah, I mean that was the crazy part about it to me because it wasn't even super people that were locked up down. It was regular ass.
It's just
Like I was like. what? Like I just didn't understand that. You got an ex-girlfriend, I'm gonna keep her down here. Ex account, I'm gonna keep him down there. And then the whole time they over here by somebody that's melting their face away. Like, just make that make sense. Like you could just send them to a regular prison if it was like that. But
Right,
yeah,
right. And I was shocked how dark it got. And also I was trying to think of the name he said, but he called it a artificial pocket universe. That's what it's called. But I wasn't expecting how dark it was gonna be either when he shot old dude in his head. And I'm like, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, Superman was kind of getting on my nerves too. I know dude was looking crazy because kryptonite and stuff like that, but I'm like, dog.
yeah. Yeah, there was just some points I was like,
Yeah,
right.
same, same,
Like
same, same,
step
same.
up. Like I just yeah, because I mean definitely with that saying there, I was just like, so are you smart or you off the deep end? Because with the whole situation, I'm like, but I feel like in that pocket universe, he felt like that's where he had the most control. So he
Mm,
could do whatever he want without any consequence because who was coming for him?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that whole scene to me was just kind of like, okay, then.
Yeah, and honestly, I thought they would have dig more into him just being ruthless and just start killing more people that Superman supposedly knew, but they kind of just left it at that. So I was like, shoot, if you gonna give it to us, give it to us. I want to see more. Like, show us how crazy he really can be. But, um, again, I loved his portrayal of him. I think for the next film, if they could dig deeper into just him losing his shit initially, I think that would make me like his portrayal even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I will say about the movie, I wish they could have scaled it back just a little bit because I do feel like we were missing some pieces. And
Mm,
when I came in to see it, I didn't want to compare it to the original universe because I'm like, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna never care for this movie or whatnot. So, but I do wish they could have scaled it back some so we could have seen some details that we were missing and whatnot. Because of course we're not expecting them to give us a full backstory on these characters or whatnot, but make us appeal to these characters, make us feel like that we know these characters because there was just some instances where I'm like, what's the motivation? You know,
yeah. Yeah.
especially, even back to the prison deal, when he was basically in a cell with was it Metamorphose? I think that was
Yeah, Metamorpho. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
You're
when
right.
he was in there with Metamorphose or whatever, and like in the cartoons, I don't remember him having a child or anything, or I don't remember him like the way he ended up turning was a different situation altogether. Like they didn't even dive into that or whatever. Because
Yeah.
my thing is, I felt like there was kind of some gaps there. It's like, all right, boom, he's in there in this cell. He got this alien looking baby, but in the cartoons, I know for sure he was a human being before he got turned into
Mm.
metaphysical. So I'm like, which part are they pulling from, or is this
Yeah.
just a different universe I'm not familiar with? So
Yeah.
that's what I was on.
Yeah, for sure. And now that you mention it, because it was a lot they put in this movie. I mean, it was a lot. I mean, a lot of characters, it was a lot of different enemies in this movie. I mean, they jam-packed it in there. So I definitely feel you that I wish they could have kind of slowed it down, took a breath, and explored some of these characters more. You're more familiar with DC, so with Metamorpho, I didn't know that originally he was human and he had like this whole like, I'm sure he had a backstory, but I didn't, it would have been interesting for them to dive in there. Like, how the hell did he get in there? Like how did he end up in that situation would have been dope for them to even explore too. So I definitely feel you on that. They really jammed a lot in there. So it's like, shoot, it was like we weren't focusing on Superman, we were focusing on this person, we were focusing on this person, we were focusing on so I get it. I get it. It was a lot of things going on.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, Metamorpho essentially he started out as a villain, essentially, like in the cartoons and everything like that. So to see him in this light and to see him basically, at some point be the good guy, I'm like, okay, yeah, y'all gonna have to make that kind of make sense going forward as far as how they gonna go about it or whatever. But that's just for me personally, if we're going based off the cartoons or whatnot.
Yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. Um, What did you think about his betrayal, Superman's parents, the betrayal of his parents, Jonathan and Martha Kent? I liked it. I thought it was dope.
I didn't hate it. The mom, yeah, the mom was pretty spot on. As far as the dad, I mean, his dad never really said much to begin with, but seeing the actor that played his dad just kept me going back to Constantine because originally in Constantine, that's where that guy was. He played as the priest or whatever, and he got to the point where a demon took him out, and he kept trying to drink to drown these noises out of his head, and
Yeah.
ended up dying. So it was just kind of weird for me to shift my brain from remembering that to see him as
Yeah.
Kent, Jonathan Kent.
I'm just surprised they didn't kill the dad off right away in the movie. I guess maybe it'll come later or if he even decides to, go that route, but it was just refreshing to not see anyone die here because that's what I was waiting for. I'm like, well, he done died in Zack Snyder's universe, and are you gonna do it here? So I thought that was refreshing. I'm like, can we explore the more the dad's relationship with his son? And so I like that. What did you think about Superman's birth parents? That whole thing with the video and them actually saying the opposite of what Superman was thinking, and he got caught. You know what? I'm happy you said you wish they would have dived deeper into that. I would have liked to see because it seemed like it kind of happened so fast, where Lex Luthor sort of put Superman's parents up on the screen and everything in the city, and everybody was just finding out, oh snap, is he here to save us and be a superhero, or is he here for some other, type Homelander stuff? Like, and I wish they would have dig deeper in that moment. It kind of just seemed like it went from 0 to 100, and it just that was it. So
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, with this being basically kind of his origin movie or whatever, you can tell that he was basically a new hero to the planet, but people were still giving him love and things of that nature. So to catch him so early, in his journey or whatnot, and be like, all right, he ain't really who y'all think he is. He really here to conceive and take over and blah blah blah. So yeah, it kind of threw things out of whack because I guess essentially they were just getting used to him. So to throw
yeah.
that bombshell and then even the Justice game, like, hey, what the hell? Like, why you ain't tell us about this? Like, come on, man. Like, and then whole time Superman not even part of the group. Like he just he a part timer. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah,
I did respect that they kind of just asked him. They didn't just be like, yeah, let's lock him up. They kind of was like, yo, man, what's good? Like, what's up with this? Versus like the public, which that's how people are. They just jumped the gun. They already was just like, oh, he needs to be locked up. We're not safe. But I respect the fact that they asked him and was like, yo, what's good? And he told him, look, I thought it was this. This turned out to be this way. So I like that they didn't have everybody sort of turn on them. I just wish they would have kind of took their time. It just was like the video popped up and then it's like he getting trash thrown in his face. I'm like, well, dang, this dude just saved y'all. So
right.
yeah.
'Cause, I mean, to your point, I definitely respect the way they did it because Guy Gardner just shut everything down. Like, boop, hey, bro, what's going on? Like, you good? You good at your instance, whatever. And I
Yeah.
look at that, I'm like, man, you know how many movies could have been saved if they literally just had a conversation like, hey, what's going on? Are you evil? Like, you hear like what's going on? So yeah, I respect that as well.
That's my biggest thing with movies and shows when no one asks the character. Like you've been knowing this person being good. Now, granted, they could be like an army man and just, hey, you've been doing good and it's really like that.
Mhm.
But I hate when movies jump the gun and everybody's just like, you don't even ask no question. You just like you believe it. You like, whoa. Da, 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 whatever. But I like that they ask him and be like, hey dude, what's going on? So um let me see. What did you think about now this part was goofy for me a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. Uh the sort of the blonde head chick that was Luther's girlfriend that sort of helped that helped bring Lex Luthor down. What did you think about that? I thought I didn't hate it because I guess in the midst of it just being silly, at least they were able to, I guess, get something out of it. But I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, she was actually smart as hell. Like,
Mhm.
she played dumb or whatever, but like at the end of it, when she showed all of it, it really surprised me. I'm like, oh, you actually smart as hell. Now I don't know why you fawning over Billy like that or whatever. I mean, I guess Billy had to been laying it down because she
Okay.
like this ain't it for me. I'm just here, just doing whatever. But she's like, here's all the information you need. Because, of course, Bill's like, man, what's up with all these selfies? I can't do nothing with that. Whole time she show you documents, maps, meetings,
Yeah.
like she was very smart, so yeah.
Yeah. And I had a feeling that that's what she was doing because I'm like, girl, at all places, you over here trying to take videos and selfies and stuff like that. But a part of me felt like she was doing that. Like when she sent the pictures and he was like, man, come on. I'm like, nah, like you need to actually think you need to take a second look because I think she's trying to help you. She's sending the right stuff. So again, I just think because of like the goofiness and stuff like that, I was kind of like at first I was like, but like I said, because it was like what's the word I'm looking for? There was a reason for the goofiness. I was like, you know what? I'll excuse it. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. So like I said, overall, like I said, I do think she did her thing. She got them information needed, and they went forward with that or whatnot. It was kind of funny to me though, with Lois Lane. She basically was just driving around Miss Terrific's, air, I guess plane or whatever, just as a regular vehicle. Like she came
Yeah.
in to work, the shit was on the rooftop. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah, that part was funny. I like that they also kind of included the journalist, even though on like low key, um, I was a little lost in that part, and I may need to just watch the movie a second time, but I was kind of trying to figure out what their role was exactly towards the end with them helping Superman because they were all in that ship, like you said. Um, so that threw me off a little bit, but I like that they included the journalists, more so in the movie. So, and it instead of Lois kind of just being, nowadays they ain't gonna do that no more with a woman's damsel in distress no more. So,
I
but
mean,
I like that they didn't make, they made her, have like an actual role. She was independent. She was able to like hold her own and she also took it to Superman too, even though he didn't like some of the stuff she was saying initially when they had their little fight. So,
honestly, that was the best part of the movie to me. Like it got heated. Like, she
hmm
like, I wanted
hmm
an interview. He like, all right, let's have this interview. And she was asking him a question that was uncomfortable or whatever. He like,
right,
oh, I can't do this, and I can't say that. The reason nah, she as a journalist, she's asking you these questions because these are the real questions that's gonna be asked to you. Are you gonna be able to handle it, or are you gonna lose your shit and walk away? Like,
right, yeah, and I agree with you. That I thought that was one of my favorite scenes because it showed, for one, they're not this perfect couple. They weren't arguing over anything like love and stuff like that. It was like real stuff. Like she like you said, like what you gonna do when you ask these questions? Because they're gonna ask questions like this, and you got to be prepared. I like that he got angry. I like that she got angry, and it felt very real. That's what I loved. It wasn't just like, well, I love you. Well, I can't be with you because you're gonna get hurt. It was like some real stuff. So I appreciated that. That I agree. That was one of my favorite moments in the movie as well, too.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, what did you think? I was not expecting this. My dad knew it because he went and looked at nerd stuff and they already kind of blew the the twist with Ultraman, which I had a feeling it was gonna be a clone of Superman anyway, but what did you think about that? He honestly was kind of giving me um dang, what is the other Superman's name? I don't know why I forgot his name. Zack Snyder.
Oh, you talking about Henry Cavill?
Cavill.
Yeah,
Kind of gave me those vibes a little bit, Ultraman, just a little bit. Like it kind of just gave me reminiscence of his betrayal a little bit. But I liked how they tied all that in together. It felt like it felt like Act Three because you felt like you dealt with one situation, but then here comes the other situation.
yeah. Because I mean, I know there was rumors thrown around. They were like, "Oh, Henry Cavill gonna probably play Ultraman and blah blah blah." But then the
Mm.
further you got into the movie, I mean, it would have been dope. Like had
Hmm.
he been in that role and had that pretty much same hairstyle he had in his movie. So,
Right.
so yeah, if they did that, that would have been dope. But the further we got into the movie, I'm like, nah, probably an exact clone of him or whatever have you. And like I said, that's why I said it was funny to me as far as talking about like, oh, Superman's still in his kind of infant stages where he's not as strong. I'm like, but who else gonna whoop your ass other than you? So I'm like, it makes sense, you know. But the thing about it was is what Lex was saying was like the clone was dumb. Like without a direction, the clone couldn't really do too much of anything. So basically Lex was in his ear calling out the plays, go left, go right, pull him up, blah 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 blah, and went from there. And I was like, interesting. But what was interesting to me though in that fight scene between them two, like when he finally saw like, oh, this is is that clone of me? Like, why was the camera needed for him to see and call plays or whatever? Like, he could have did something. As smart as he is, he could have did something internal in his body to see what he's seeing or anything. Like, in my opinion,
Yeah.
versus, oh, the camera's gone now, he can't see, now I can't
Yeah.
give him the play by play. You know what I
I
mean?
feel you. I feel you. And I was thinking that I'm like, shoot, if anything, Lex Luthor should have been up in there doing the moves himself and like controlling dude, like instead of like you said, having the camera, like I definitely feel like because I'm like, dude, you made a pocket universe. Like you said, why is there a need for a camera? Like, if any you can do honestly, you can do anything. You about as strong as any damn superhero in y'all universe, like or smart. I'll say smart.
Right.
So I agree with you. It's kind of like what was the need for the cameras? And to your point with Henry Cavill or Cavill, I think that actually would have been super dope if he would have been unmasked as Ultraman because of the Pocket Universe, they could have did something where he was from another universe and maybe Lex Luthor some type of way made him into, what he is. That would have been dope. And I think that would have been a dope send-off for Henry Cavill. So I think that was maybe have been a little missed opportunity. But like I said, I'm not mad at them, doing it being him his exact clone because I was like I'm like now who in the world can beat Superman's ass? I'm just like, this dude is whooping his butt. But then it made sense once he was unmasked. I'm like, of course, it's him.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
'Cause, looking at that Ultraman just really reminded me of the boys. And as far as Black Noir, that's what he reminded me of was Black Noir. I was
I
like, oh,
said the same. I
right.
said the same.
I mean, at first he's in this big hulky suit for whatever reason, and which is still impressive. He was able to wear this big hulky suit and still sling Superman around or whatever. And then as it got further into the movie, he shed that or whatnot, and then he was just dressed like the other villain, and I forget her name in the movie. She used
Uh,
nanites to use her power.
is it the hammer of Boravia?
Well, that was the moniker he had went by
Okay.
before they knew
Okay.
he was Ultraman. But I'm talking about old girl. Her name was Laura, but she used like nanites, and she could
Okay.
like
Yeah.
make spikes and stuff like that or whatever. I wish they would have expounded on her more because her character was real interesting. But
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I felt like they kind of just and I can't even remember what happened with her after the fact. Um, dang, was she knocked out or so? I just remember they got into that fight and then that you kind of didn't really see her after that anymore.
hmm
But I definitely loved her character. I thought she was dope. Oh, and she was about to kill Superman. She was about to kill him once all them little nanobots or whatever got inside of him. He was struggling.
good to go.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah, no, her character for sure. When she started using her nanites on Superman and everything like that, it really got me to thinking about like Matrix when Neo had
Mm.
all that black stuff going into his mouth and everything. I'm like, oh. So
Yeah, yeah. She almost took Superman out. He was out of here. So that was dope. I was like, okay, okay. But
right.
what else? What else? What else?
While you
Trying to
thinking about that, the other thing I can say about Ultraman was I don't think he was as strong as Superman. I say that because when Ultraman and old girl they was all going to the sky. She was trying to kill him with all the nanites and stuff. Ultraman just hit him, nothing, not doing anything to him. I'm like, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
Somebody's holding back.
Yeah, yeah, I felt the same way too. Cause I was like you. I'm like, but like you said, I was like, you know what? I don't think he is as strong. And I feel like did they kind of touch on that? Maybe I can't remember. I do know like he was able to kind of gauge everything Superman was gonna do before he did it. So that was kind of like we talked about with the cameras and stuff like that, how he was able to get a heads up on him. But no, for sure. When I was looking at that, I'm like, ain't nothing happening too much, but okay.
Yeah.
Um, what else? Towards the end, how did you, I guess you liked how everything concluded as far as Mr. Terrific closing the rift, when they were finally able to get up in there to Lex Luthor.
Um, I mean, it was stressful for sure. 'Cause I'm like, I'm like, how long we gonna keep this thing open? I'm like, how bad is it? And my thing is, being that Mr. Terrific is, super smart, Lex is as well. So in my mind, I'm like, Lex had to have known the risk if, that portal was open too long or, things of that nature, whatever. Because I'm pretty sure all the people that had access to it didn't know like this thing collapsed and put a crack into the earth. You like no one knew that. So I just thought that was interesting that he had so many allies that were, in that dimension as well with their prisons and whatnot. And now Mr. Terrific over here trying to make sure this thing don't close in on him. I'm just like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I like that. Like I said, it just seemed like you said, it was very stressful because it was one thing going on, then you had this going on, and you like, dang, like Earth really about to Earth really about to go into oblivion at this point. But I liked how once Mr. Terrific they got in sort of Lex Luthor's headquarters and the dude was like, "Do you need me to help?" And Mr. Terrific was like, "I don't need your help. I'm goddamn Mr. Terrific. I can do this." So I thought that was super dope. And I'm looking like the dude, I'm like, dude, now granted you probably could do something, but I mean this guy don't need any help. He called it before anybody else. He like, yo, do you know how dangerous a pocket universe is? Like what we doing here?
Right.
So
Right.
that was funny. I liked towards the end, Lex Luthor like was really losing his shit once Superman got him. And I liked that because it really showed like his mental state and like you said, the hatred he had for this dude. Like the dude was crying. I'm like, you all right?
That much hate in his heart. You like, I can't accept this. Like, nah, bro, just go ahead and fold. You got next time.
At this point, for
But
sure.
my thing is, even if there is next time, not saying that Lex Luthor won't make another appearance, but it's just like you are the cause. There's a whole split into the earth right now, so it's like who feeling really be on side right now. But I guess that's just to be continued with that.
Yeah, yeah. He definitely had to he definitely had to lose a lot of the initial maybe the fans he did have. I think he probably definitely lost a lot of them. The fact that he was willing to put the world in jeopardy just because of his hatred with Superman, causing wars and stuff and invasions with other countries. I mean, he really just like he lost his shit. He definitely did. He definitely did. Because I think with even that whole thing with those two countries, and I don't want to mess up this pronunciation, so I'm not even gonna try. But one of the countries were trying to invade the other country, and he pretty much was like, I orchestrated that whole thing just to find an excuse to blame Superman for it. And it's like, dude, come on.
You
So.
dying because you want to prove a point. It's crazy.
Right, exactly, exactly. But
Mhm.
yeah, overall, I I enjoyed the movie. I honestly did, and like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. I think a lot of us kind of were. Well, I'll speak for myself. I know I was a little skeptical just to see how this will go because, like I said, I'm with DC. We always talk about it. DC just needs to be dark
Mhm.
and they thrive in darkness. That's just what it needs to be. But like I said, this was a little bright, but it wasn't it wasn't silly all the way through. They just had like little moments here there, which is fine. And like I said, overall, I really enjoyed the movie, and it had dark moments in there. Honestly, it definitely did. So
Mhm.
I enjoyed it
Yeah, because I mean, overall, like even when it started out or whatnot, you could tell the light heartedness it was trying to give, like based on like Christopher Reeve's Superman and things of that nature. Because it was getting to the point where this is modernized, but you could hear like some old school 1950s quips and what Superman was saying, things of that nature. I'm like,
sure,
okay, cool, sure, let's roll with it or whatever.
sure,
And outside of that, I do think it was I do think it was a decent film to, have a kickstart to this new universe. And I'm interested to see, who's going to be brought in for the next one as far as, how the story is going to unfold, because I mean, if it follows anything like the cartoons or whatnot, every character had their own universe and then they became as one when Justice League became a thing. So I'm just interested to see how that's going to go.
for sure. And even the piggyback off of what you said, just sort of glimpse of the OG Superman and paying homage to him, even with the down to the music. At first I didn't know how I was gonna feel about that either. Just because, and I think I tried, like we both tried to say, we didn't go in with trying to compare with Henry Cavill's Superman and everything like that. But I've always loved, just me being a music person, I always loved just his music, like his score, his like music for being Superman. But I will say I actually really loved um this Superman's music as well too. Like I like how they added in the OG Superman music, and they kind of made it different to his own. With our new Superman, his they made a new spin to it. So I really like that. That was dope. What did you and the cut scene, or the post credit scene? What did you think about his cousin Supergirl at the end?
She's on brand. If you ever see anything about Kara or whatnot, she came to Earth and was just she was a teenager. So she came
Mhm.
to Earth like, man, what's going on? And blah blah blah. She wanted to party and all that. So her character, based on the glimpse we saw, was on brand. So
Okay.
I'm interested to see how how that's gonna flow for her.
Okay. See, I didn't know that. And because at first I was kind of like, but then I'm like, you know what? One thing I can say that everybody's been saying is that this movie is very comic book accurate, like very comic book accurate. So the fact that you said that, I'm like, okay, so I didn't know. I always thought Supergirl was kind of just like heroic and poised. You said no, that's how she is.
She didn't start off that way. She's a complete opposite of
Oh
Clark and
wow.
or whatnot.
Okay.
Now, technically, if you look back, she's technically older than him, but how things got set up when both of them got shipped out or whatnot, he ended up making it there first, and now he's the older one or whatever have you. But yeah, they're like night and day. She steps into being that Supergirl heroic girl later on, and
Mhm.
later on, but in the beginning, yeah, nah.
Okay, dope. So then that's cool too because it gives the character a chance for character development and a chance to grow and to see her sort of transition out of being like this drunk party girl and all this other stuff to like more so like you said when she gets older and she grows more. So okay,
Mhm.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
here for that. I'm not mad at that. Okay.
Mhm.
But yeah, overall I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it. This honestly, now we'll see how James Gunn's, universe pans out, but I think I'm a little less worried after seeing Superman. I'm kind of like, okay, I think this could be good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was funny even to the point I guess where he was pissed off and didn't want to do anything with the world. You got a whole alien monster eyeball thing out there, and you got the Justice Gang out there fighting it. And Lowe's like, "Ain't you gonna go out there?" You're like, "No, they got to handle. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure shit out right now."
Yeah, I cracked up at that part because it's like you say, it's just the window's just a bunch of just stuff going on, and they just over here talking. He's just like, bro, that was funny. That was really funny. That was funny, and I like that they added that in there.
Right. That was
Versus
very
him,
that was a
yeah,
very James Gunn right there.
Yep, yep, yep. Definitely James Gunn all the way.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, this super dope movie. I thought it was good. I'm excited to see what comes
Hmm.
um in the future and with the universe, you
Yeah,
know.
sure.
Yeah.
And for sure, I mean, like I said, for the most part, I think we touched on, everything that's that came from this movie and hopefully what's to come. But what I'm excited to talk about now is some of the stuff that happened at the end. So, with Lex Luthor and his gang basically, invading the fortress or whatever, these robots in the beginning of the movie, they show you they're strong enough to hold this man down. So how they got wrecked is beyond me. Like I don't understand. Like they came in there, busting there, got into his computer, hacked it or whatnot. I'm just like, yeah, you gotta have better security, my boy. Like the dog was doing more than the robots was. So I I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm happy you said because it slipped my mind. Like I said, me and my dad went to go see it, and my dad said the same thing. He was like, "Now, how?" He was like, "First of all, why Superman don't got better security? Anybody can just come up in here." But he made a good point with Ultraman because he was there. Superman uses his DNA to get in there. So if they have his clone there, that's how they were able to get in there. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I'll give them that. But also what you said about the robots, it's kind of like my dad said the same thing. He was like, now they defeated him way the robots got defeated a little too easily for him. And I agree. I was like, well, dang, like you said, they were able to hold what's his name down. Why now they just getting, pulverized. But again, I guess if you're looking at the clone being Superman, I mean, maybe I don't know. I feel like the robots could have held their own a little bit more, just
They could put up a little bit more fight than that.
for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. But like I said, with the clone getting in there, that made a little bit more sense to me. Even though I still feel like y'all need to have just some fail-safe measures for something like this. Like, because you just never know. It may be a clone that pop up, and you gotta know how to differentiate between the real one and fake one. But, after he, explained, well, this is why, I was like, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, what? Superman, anybody can just get in here? What's going on?
Because essentially, if you ever watch the cartoons growing up or whatever, that Fortress of Solitude is not only a Fortress of Solitude, it's damn near like an intergalactic zoo. Like he had a bunch of, other different alien beings down, animal beings down there or whatever have you. And for, them just come in there, wreck the place, get what they need to get out. Like, yeah, nah, that's just doing way too much because there was a point in time that I think Superman had made a key in the cartoons that was like super heavy. It looked like a regular key, not knowing it was like weighed like quadrillion tons or something like that or whatever. Only he could pick it up, take it, and turn the key and open the door. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, nah, something's gotta be better than just, oh, let me use my face ID to get in and that's
Yeah.
it.
I feel you on that. And then, like you said, they went in there, they trashed the place. The robots are just scattered everywhere. Then they left with information and all this. They were able to hack into stuff. And I'm like, now, Superman, now, like, people shouldn't be able to get in this stuff that easily. Like, what I'm saying? Unless you just was that comfortable in your robots and people going in there, then cool. But I mean, come on. Come
Nah,
on. So
nah.
yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I feel you completely. That's the same thing I had in my head the
Yeah.
whole time. No.
Now, for some name drops, I did notice two characters that seem like they'll be reprising roles, in this universe. I did see John Cena's character,
No.
I guess with the success of his series that they had or whatnot, maybe they're gonna make him reoccurring in this universe. And secondly was Viola Davis, even though you couldn't see her, you know her voice, you know Viola Davis's voice. So you could hear her in the background or whatnot, and it's like, all right, well, they're gonna keep, they're gonna keep her. But I was interested to see who they chose as Colonel Flag, because the guy they chose as Colonel Flag was also in the MCU as one of the
Mm-hmm.
soldiers or whatever. So I thought
Yeah.
it was interesting that they chose him or whatnot. So, when the universe does expand, it's gonna be interesting to see him in the Suicide Squad and things of that nature if that's the plans for him. But it could change because this is technically a different universe, so it could change.
For sure. And I'm happy because in my notes, I was going to touch on Peacemaker, John Cena's character being in there. I'm not familiar with Peacemaker. I just know him from the previous Suicide Squad, and I haven't seen the show yet. A lot of people really like the show as well too,
Nope.
but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And like you said, it does seem like they're gonna bring him on, which I'm happy you touched on that because it's like James Gunn was initially supposed to just be like, all right, we starting fresh, but it looks like he pulled some people in from certain roles to carry on into his universe, so that'll be dope. And then like you said with the I think his name is Frank Grillo. The guy you said that was in the Marvel universe, he played a Hydra agent.
Mhm.
Where is it? Brock Rumlow in Captain America Winter Soldier. Because I said the same thing. I was like, he's in Marvel. I just can't right the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. I was like he's in Captain America, one of them movies. So I thought that too. I thought that was interesting. I love him as an actor playing Rick Flag. And then Viola Davis. I think honestly she plays her role so well. I mean, who else are you gonna have to play her character? I think she just nails it. She pisses me off where like she pisses me off, but that means that's a great actress right there to piss me off because Suicide Squad and other movies she's been in, I just been like, ma'am, you are doing the absolute most. But I'm happy, I'm happy she's gonna be in there. I think that was a great decision to keep her on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I do wonder that brings the question on who else they would, I guess, keep. We all know that he's bringing Jason Momoa over, but it's not going to be as Aquaman. It's going to be as thing.
Obo.
So I wonder who else he would choose to keep and not keep. I guess only time will tell at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he'll be tight-lipped with that or whatever. But I know he did say when he was coming over that, yeah, you're gonna probably see some faces that, I've originally worked with and things of that nature,
Mhm.
even some that might be from the MCU. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he's gonna span that because
Yeah.
I don't know if there was any naming as far as what would the next project be, but I just know this is the first one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, I don't think I know what is next either as far as like what he has in his universe set up. I wish I did.
Yeah.
But
Because I think he don't want to follow the same mistakes as the previous universe did. I don't think he want to just do a full rollout back to back to back, and then we're just over here like, wait a minute, what's going on? What's so he
yeah,
just kind of try to not slowly roll them out, but like piece by piece and where it makes sense. So we
yeah,
hopefully where we can develop in it.
yeah, for sure. And I honestly I hope I'm happy he's not doing that just because like you said, it's just been like I mean, Lord knows the DC universe have tried to like keep up with Marvel, man. Like they have tried and tried and tried, just never really got off. It just never took off for real. Like they had good like movies here and there, but as far as their universe and just trying to compete with MCU, it just never has done that. So if he really takes his time and really make each movie, make sure the directors, producers, writers, they really treat each movie like a love letter to the comic book universe. I really think he can contend because I mean, I know we ain't talking about Marvel right now, but I wanted Marvel to kind like come on now. Come on. I'm an MCU fan first and foremost, but I mean, come on now, y'all.
Hmm.
So, yeah. I think I'm excited for the future of the DC universe. I'm excited.
So man, like I said, that's where we at with it. So just hold it tight and make sure and see what's next. And like I said, hopefully, this is just a stepping stone to, greater works coming from him and, people that he brings on.
Yeah. And I was gonna also touch back on what we were saying about his lineup or what's next. I think, and I just pulled it up, I could be wrong. I think Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. That's the name that I believe they're going with right now. You know, they always change movie titles, but it looks like that her movie is gonna be next. So I'm just hoping they do it, they continue to do these movies justice.
So it sounds like they're gonna do it like I said they would. So if they following the cartoons, they're gonna expound on one universe first, then move on to the next universe. And then
Yeah,
at some point, all those universes are gonna come together for the Justice League.
yeah.
So okay, interesting.
Yeah, same, same. Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Mm.
I'm have faith in James Gunn. Definitely do.
I'm
Yeah.
they paid him a hell of a lot of money too.
Okay,
Yeah,
that part, that part.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think that's all we have on it. As always, we break it down from beginning to end.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
If we miss anything, y'all know, let us know in the comments. If we was wrong on some stuff, let us know. If y'all have a different opinion, let us know. Um, but we always gonna give y'all our truth and the real and how we feel. So, let us know what y'all think.
right, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, if you're ready to close out, we can head on up out of here. Then hope everybody enjoyed. We back.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, y'all. Guess we'll go ahead and close this out. We got Fantastic Four First Steps coming up. We super excited about this. We both are first and foremost MCU fans, so I know we excited to get into this. But like we said, you guys, we are back. Let us know in the comments what you think about this whole episode. I'm your girl Shalon. This is K1, and you guys already know what it is, Blerd Buster. And we'll be back with the next one.
I'll let y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.